Lovely service, Father Leary. Very nice.
Nell not able to come?
Oh, yeah, she's caught up with some of her CWA committee. Very appropriate, I thought, the subject. Corruption of the saints. Mind you, the saints were incorruptible yesterday. Guess who had them in the pub sweep?
It wasn't football I had in mind, actually.
Oh, no, of course not. Well, let's face it, there's enough corruption on the streets these days.
Father Leary?
I'll just wait for Nell.
Excuse me, Tom.
Yeah.
Matthew Balfour, so pleased to meet you. An excellent service. May I introduce my wife, Nadia?
How do you do, Father? Such a lovely church.
Nadia and I are non-denominational. We're Christians, of course. We like to visit all the churches.
I'm just sorry it's taken so long to visit yours, Father Leary.
So I'd like to show my appreciation and wonder if I might have a word in private.
I think that's a very good idea. Mr.
Balfour.
in the presbytery.
Man Thomas Police. Yes, Mrs. Kane. Verbal abuse. Uh-huh. What exactly did he say? Well, your husband said that to you, did he? To your dog. Uh-huh.
G'day, boss.
Morning.
Hey, the Saints really came marching in on Saturday.
Well, if you wait long enough, miracles can happen.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for tonight. Your shout.
Can't expect 2 miracles in a row, son. PJ.
Yeah.
I got my first close-up look at a couple of friends of yours yesterday morning. Matthew and Nadia Balfour.
I got a stack of complaints up to here. What do you reckon?
All sweet old-fashioned charm.
Going after the mix now, are they?
They like to visit all the churches, they said. But listen to this. Balfour shoved $100 into Father Leary's hand. How's that for true Christian spirit?
$100? Why didn't he put it in the collection plate?
Maybe he was asleep when it came round.
Nah, he wanted Father Leary to know where it came from. Anyway, Balfour is clean.
How can he be when we've got people complaining they bought this as a miracle cure for everything, including cancer?
They believe what they want to believe.
I suppose if I was in their shoes, I'd want to give anything a try, too. When the Balfours met Father Leary, this might be my imagination, but I got the impression that he knew them.
Would they know him?
Couldn't have. They introduced themselves. But Balfour wanted to talk to Father Leary in private.
Oh, yeah? What a confession.
Very amusing. Anyway, it might be worth having a chat with him about them.
Yep.
Good
G'day.
morning. Couldn't sleep for all the excitement, eh?
This is the first time I've ever won anything.
Well, good for you.
What are you looking for?
Your security guard. You don't want to be carrying all this cash unprotected.
Oh, just give me the $25.
Good idea you came in early. You don't have to shout the house.
My troops have already lined me up for tonight, thanks all the same.
Maybe you could buy your friend a drink.
Hmm?
He was waiting outside when I opened the doors.
Really?
Yeah.
Father, you all right?
Leave me alone.
Well, if there's something wrong...
Not now, Thomas. I came in here for a quiet drink.
Mount Thomas Police. Boss. Uh-huh. All right, we've got that. Be there soon. There's been an accident out on Belanger Road near Wakers Lane. There's a man seriously injured. Could be
Wayne,
fatal.
get onto the radio. Get Nick and Adam over there.
Boss, the injured man, it's Father Leary.
All right, Wayne, you're in charge. Maggie, you can drive me.
What's your name?
I'm Josephine Harris.
All right, Miss Harris, did you give us the call?
No, I was going to the town and I saw Father Leary's car and I stopped. I ran back, but I couldn't see him anywhere. I looked everywhere.
Just take it easy, will you? And what time was this happening?
It would have been about 11:30. The ambulance came here pretty quickly. Someone must have called them. I did my best to make him comfortable, but he was still unconscious when the ambulance took him to hospital.
All right, now, you just show me where you found him.
He was down here.
Take it easy.
He had this big cut on the back of his head, and he was bleeding. It was awful.
Well, you found him down here, did you?
Yeah.
All right, you come back up here on the road with me. Come on. Steady. Now, you want to tell me what you were doing sweeping up this glass?
Well, it was all over the place. It gave me something to do. I had a broom. I do a bit of cleaning. I was just trying to help out.
Yeah, righto. We'll need to take a brief statement off you. We may be getting in contact with you at a later stage, all right? Yeah. All right? I want you to go sit in your car for a couple of minutes, all right? Yeah. Don't forget to take your broom with you.
Judging by these skid marks, I reckon he came flying down the road, lost it, stacked into that pole over there. Then the door flew open, he got thrown out, hit his head on the way down.
You reckon?
What he sells is legal. He doesn't make any claims about miracle cures.
My mother is dying of cancer. Now, she believes this $25 tea and pills is going to make her better.
If you don't want your mother to see Balfour, why don't you just tell him to push off?
Because he and his wife have worked their way into our lives. They bring flowers and fruit and books. Mrs. Balfour even reads to my mother. Matthew Balfour has won my mother's confidence, and now he's selling her his magic medicine.
Well, at least he's giving your mother hope. It's more than doctors do. Look, Miss Buchanan, complaints aren't enough. Unless we get evidence that he's doing something illegal, there's nothing we can do. Now, have you ever heard Matthew Balfour claim that his medicine is able to cure cancer?
No.
No. Okay. So what about your mother?
She goes on like he's the saviour. So you're going to do nothing? Well, thank goodness we believe in the power of prayer.
Lots of luck.
What was that all about?
I don't think she likes me.
What have you got?
Well, Father Larry's car's copped on the front driver's side, but there's no damage to the telephone pole. I reckon it's happened out in the road, and someone's deliberately pushed the car here to make it look as though it happened here. You see, on the ding here, there's different coloured paint. That's from another car. So I reckon that Leary's come out of this side lane here. Someone's come burling along here, collected him, and then decided to fake it by pushing the car against the pole. They've also dragged him out of the car, and they put him in the ditch where Mrs. Harris found him bleeding from a head wound.
Well, it is possible, I suppose. What's all this?
Mrs. Harris, who found the accident, she decided to sweep the glass up.
Too much for one car?
Hey, boss.
Well, that could have caused the head wound.
There's no sign of blood on it.
If somebody's going to go to all this trouble, they would have wiped it clean. Who the hell would want to attack a priest? When you arrived at the accident, were there any other cars around?
No, just Father Leary. That's why I stopped. I recognised his car immediately.
Did you see another car?
Just me.
Well, somebody reported it. Where was Father Leary when you found him?
He was lying face down in the ditch. If there'd been any water, he could have drowned. He had this cut in his head and there was a lot of blood. I did my best to clean it up.
Did he smell of alcohol?
What?
Is it possible that he'd been drinking?
Father Leary would never be the worse for drink. He's a good, decent, clean living
I
man.
know that, Mrs. Harris.
If it wasn't for him, I don't know how I'd have got through after my husband died. Father Leary is more than just a priest sergeant. He's a true friend.
He regained consciousness an hour ago.
Well, is there any chance of talking to him?
Yes, but don't expect much. The X-rays show no broken bones, thank goodness, but he has suffered contusions and lacerations to the scalp with loss of consciousness. And hemorrhaging, of course. So he's in a state of shock, and I'd be inclined to take things easy at this stage, Tom. We've taken blood samples, of course.
Well, I'd like to see the results of those, Howard. I'm very interested in his blood alcohol content. Father Leary, I'm terribly sorry, but I have to ask you what happened.
I don't know.
The accident this morning? Do you remember talking to me in the pub this morning? Where did you go after you left the pub?
I don't remember.
Nothing. You went to your car.
So how is he now?
Not good.
He said he can't remember anything after he left here.
Well, he only had a small scotch.
He did only have one drink.
Yeah. Well, Tommy didn't stay long. He left around 10:20.
I don't suppose you know where he went.
No, he wasn't very talkative. I mean, usually you can't shut him up, but you saw him. Nothing. Not a smile, not a sausage. In fact, he didn't say another word after you spoke to him.
Hey, Nick! Take a look at this. What do you reckon? Blood? There was none on the steering lock. I told you. The priest fell down here and struck his head on this rock.
This is only a preliminary report. We won't have the details for you for at least 24 hours.
Yeah, I understand that, Bill, but at least this will give you some idea of what happened. The thing that puzzles me is how Father Leary ended up down in that ditch.
Well, first off, the skid marks were not made by the car resting against the power pole. A different sized wheelbase. Also, the tyre marks start back just before the intersection of Wakely's Lane. The car at the accident site did not strike the power pole. The pole shows no sign of any collision.
So, Nick was spot on.
Scuff and paint marks indicate a secondary vehicle was involved.
What colour paint?
Can't be specific yet, but a bluish grey. We've taken samples, so I'll let you know. Even if the driver wasn't wearing a seatbelt, there's no way he could have been thrown out from behind the wheel and find his way into that ditch. Oh, we took some blood samples from that rock your fella found. You can try matching against the priest's.
I'll be surprised if they don't match. Anything else?
No. No, the rest is mostly technical. Well, the accident happened at around 1100 hours.
Right, thanks, Bill. So, a secondary vehicle was involved.
So if someone shoved his car up against the power pole, they more than likely put him down there.
Which means they left him for dead.
Now, you hit someone with a rock, it's a good chance you could kill him.
This is turning very nasty, PJ.
Yeah. I want to talk to Josephine Harris.
Why?
Well, she's in love with him.
Oh, come on, PJ. He helped her when her husband died.
When a woman is most vulnerable, boss, you know that.
PJ, do you ever have a thought that doesn't concern sex?
Look, boss, just because he's a priest, I mean, you know, it doesn't make him a saint.
I know this sort of stuff happens, PJ, but don't you say a word about this until we know for certain.
Don't worry, people aren't shocked by anything anymore.
Cooper, Doyle, start making your rounds of car repairers, panel beaters, garages. We're looking for a secondary vehicle involved with Father Leary's car. See if anything's come in.
It'll have front and probably left side damage. It may be a bluish-grey vehicle.
And Wayne, I want to know where the priest was from the time he left the pub. Chris said it was about 10:20. The accident happened around 11.
Wayne, he's got a housekeeper, Mrs. Flynn.
Right. Of course, everyone knows about priests and their housekeepers. Nick, I want you to bring in Josephine Harris, mate.
Okay.
Thank you. So, when you found him, Mrs. Harris, he was in the ditch?
Yes.
The bottom of the ditch?
I told you, face down.
Was he conscious?
No, his eyes were closed. He was breathing, but he had this cut on his head.
So why did you move him?
It was awful. There was all this blood. I did my best to clean it up.
You did a lot of cleaning up. Why did you sweep up the glass?
I thought it might cause another accident. Somebody might get a puncture.
Had you arranged to meet Father Leary there?
I'm not sure I follow you.
Well, it's just that you happened to be at the same spot at the same time.
It was a coincidence.
What was your relationship with Father Leary?
He's my priest. And?
And?
I respect him. I look up to him. I don't think I like what you're implying, Mr. Hesham.
What am I implying, Mrs. Harris?
I find your questions offensive, and I'm not going to sit here and take any more of this.
Here you go. Mate, that was a bit rough, wasn't it?
Nick, it wouldn't be the first time that a parishioner fell in love with a priest.
She just tried to save his life, that's all.
Might have tried to end it, pal.
Oh, come on. That woman who sat in here, clobbers a priest.
Her lover. It's very possible.
Well, no. It was a bloke who phoned for the ambulance.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, that means there was someone else involved.
Well, that could have been someone driving past.
Yeah, but it couldn't have been the bloke in the accident, could it?
Nick, you know what they say about a woman scorned?
Oh. This is the gospel according to PJ, is it?
Well, at the moment, she's our one and only suspect.
Oh, you're a sick man.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Flynn? Constable Patterson.
I'd forgotten to remove the weekend flowers, what with the accident and all. He's all right, isn't he? You haven't come with bad news?
Oh, no, nothing like that, no. I was just after a bit of information and I was hoping you could help me.
I went to the hospital, but they wouldn't let me in to see him.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that he's regained consciousness. We're trying to trace Father Leary's movements this morning, and I was wondering if you knew where he went.
Oh, dear, I'd have to think. I haven't been thinking too clearly.
Well, take your time.
Monday. Yeah, that's right. You see, normally he has a late start on a Monday because of all the Sunday services and that, but this morning he was out early. He'd had breakfast and was gone by 8 o'clock. That's odd, very odd.
Do you know where he went?
No idea. I did have a look in his diary, but the only appointment was for 10:30. He was going to see Mrs. Buchanan. Yeah, the poor love that's dying of cancer.
We're trying to trace Father Leary's movements up to the time of the accident, Mrs. Buchanan.
Oh, yes, shocking. And to think that it happened just after he left here.
What time was that?
Oh, right on the dot of 11. Punctual as always. Every Monday, he arrives at 10:30 and leaves at 11.
Did he seem his normal self?
Funny you should say that, Sergeant. Normally I do all the talking, but yesterday, do you know he spent almost the entire time trying to stop me having anything to do with Mr. and Mrs. Balfour. Do you know them?
Yes, Mrs. Buchanan, we know them.
Oh, they've been so very kind. No one could have been more caring, more thoughtful. Oh, except my dear daughter, of course.
Mother, they sold you non-prescription drugs.
Oh, Sandra, you do go on. It's just a nice, soothing tea and a few tablets, that's all. I'm taking them for weeks, and it has not done me any harm.
Yes, but the question is, has it ever done you any good? Mother didn't make a lot of it, but Father Leary really didn't want her to see the Balfours.
Well, did he give any specific reason?
He said they weren't what they seemed to be, that she shouldn't trust them so much. She dismissed it, of course. She thinks that Father Leary doesn't like them because they're not Catholic. Look, I don't know if it's relevant or not, but Father Leary was in a very strange mood, really irritable, bad-tempered, in fact.
What, because of the conversation about the Balfours?
No, he arrived like that.
OK. Thanks. Oh, Tom, they've run a cross-match on the fingerprints in the car and those on the steering lock.
What did they come up with?
They're identical. They both belong to Father Leary.
Well, what do you make of that?
Maybe he hit himself on the head.
Something's definitely not right with him. He got stuck into Mrs. Buchanan, apparently, about the Balfours. Drinking in the pub at 10 in the morning is just not like him.
Well, maybe he split with Mrs. Harris and he's feeling guilty.
That's ridiculous, PJ.
Boss, you wouldn't write it off if you seen her face.
But this has got something to do with the Balfours. Bring them in for a talk.
Balfours? And ask him what?
You've got all those complaints about his magic potion for an excuse. And let's have another talk with Father Leary. Maybe his memory's returned.
I don't remember a thing. Not a thing.
Father, I'm talking about Sunday.
It's all gone. I have no recollection.
You don't remember Matthew Balfour? Nadia Balfour. He introduced himself. He handed you two $50 notes, and you took them away to talk to them privately.
It's all one big blank.
Father, when you met the Balfours at church on Sunday, I got the impression that you recognised them, that you knew them from somewhere else.
For God's sake, Thomas, just leave me alone.
There was another car involved, Father Leary. Who was in it?
Were you conscious when Mrs. Harris found you?
Josephine found me.
Well, you're obviously very close.
Let's get back to the Balfours.
Do I have to call someone to remove you? Just leave me alone. I can't help you. I just can't.
Ah, Tom. I've just spoken to the laboratory about Father Leary's blood tests. There was no excessive alcohol content.
I'm pleased to hear it.
Well, is memory loss consistent with the head injury he received, Doctor?
Oh, yes, quite usual in these cases.
Is it likely to be permanent?
I wouldn't think so. It's possible that some moments may be lost forever, but that's quite usual in cases of serious trauma, such as a car accident. In due course, his memory should return.
Right. What about, say, selective memory loss?
I'm sorry? I don't understand what you...
We won't keep you any longer, Howard. Thanks for your time.
Sure.
Oh, should a Mr. or Mrs. Balfour attempt to visit or call Father Leary, would you let me know?
Certainly. Balfour, was it? Right, I'll advise reception.
Selective memory loss?
No damaged vehicles have come in within a 50-kilometre radius.
Parts west on High Street have only received one order since the accident. From the Ratton brothers.
Those hoons? Well, how would they connect with Father Leary and the Balfours?
Oh, smart operators like the Balfours wouldn't do their own dirty work. They'd probably use someone very like the Ratton brothers.
I can't believe Father Leary would get himself involved with people like that. All right, you two go out to the Rattons and see what you can find.
PJ, the Balfours are here.
Show him into my office. Hang on. Bring him in first. How long have you known Father Leary?
Since Sunday. I do believe you were there, Sergeant.
I had the distinct impression that Father Leary knew you from somewhere else.
No.
Where were you at the time of Father Leary's accident?
On Monday morning, I was visiting my patients. I can give you names and addresses.
No. Patients? You're not a medical practitioner, are you?
As a practicing Christian, I tend the needs of the less fortunate and do what I can to ease their pain and suffering.
And sell them your miracle medicine, huh?
All my products are perfectly legal. I do have a license, and I only charge what they're capable of paying.
Mrs. Buchanan's one of your patients.
She certainly is, and very satisfied, I might add.
Have you ever told her your snake oil cures cancer?
Firstly, Sergeant, I object to you referring to my products like that. And secondly, did she tell you that?
Just answer the question, Mr. Balfour.
Of course not.
Do you know what John and Laurie Ratton?
Should I?
They own a junkyard.
They're not among my patients, if that's what you mean.
No, I meant business dealings.
Definitely not. I can't imagine what kind of dealings you're talking about.
Well, take care of somebody on your behalf.
I don't understand.
Take care of somebody who, might know something about you.
If you're insinuating... I can't believe what I'm hearing. If you want to pursue that detective, I suggest you lay charges and prepare to fight.
Thanks, Mr. Balfour. That'll be all for now.
If there's anything you need to know about me, you only have to ask.
If there's anything we need to know about you, we'll find out.
You won't be leaving town, will you, Mr. Balfour? We might need to chat again.
Well, you know where to find me. At any time.
Smarmy bastard.
Hey, Laurie! Laurie!
G'day, fellas.
What do you want? We ain't done nothing.
You want to take a look at your ute?
Have you got a warrant?
Yeah.
What's in there?
Nothing, mate. Just junk.
Then you won't mind if we take a look.
Oh, please yourself. I don't mind waiting while Constable Cooper goes for a warrant. Get out of the way. Okay, big joke. Now where's the ute?
Dad's got it out on a job.
They set us up.
Oh, they thought it was a great joke.
Oh, Mrs. Flynn.
At my office, thanks, Wayne. I'll be laughing at the other side of their faces when we get a look at their ute. Get Parts West to let you know when they're delivering, and you be there.
They wouldn't be that stupid, boss.
You don't know the rackings.
What do you have to get from her?
Where Father Leary was between 8 and 10 Monday morning and who he was with.
Wayne said she didn't know.
Well, I'm hoping she'll have found out by now. When in doubt, get in touch with the town gossip.
Well, you'd remember when Father Leary first came to Mount Thomas, wouldn't you, Sergeant? We got on like a house on fire right from the start. Well, you see, I had relatives in Camberwell. That's where he was from. Poor thing, she's dead now. Put up with a sick husband and followed him into the grave within 6 months. Father Leary's problem is he gets too involved with his parishioners. The one good thing that's come out of this accident is forced him to take a rest. What was the question again?
Where was Father Leary on Monday morning between 8 and 10?
I haven't the faintest idea. Why would I know?
Will you forget about the Josephine Harris angle? Father Leary is a priest. He's not about to get involved with a member of his parish.
According to Mrs. Flynn, he is.
Oh, she wasn't talking in the physical sense of the word.
Well, he is flesh and blood, you know. And celibacy, boss, is not natural.
You don't know what you're talking about, PJ. He is a dedicated priest, and most of them do have the discipline.
All right, so what about the Balfours? Now, you said yourself there's got to be some connection, didn't you?
All right. So, he's holding something back.
So, if he's connected with the Balfours, then it's got to be something dodgy.
He's not going to be involved in anything illegal.
It's time you listen to your own advice, boss.
What?
You are personally involved. You are too close.
Hey, boss. What about a beer? You're a shout, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be right with you.
Might as well open up all the way, Jono.
OK, Jono, before you start, you ought to know that I've got a detailed report from the Accident Investigation Squad. So it's simply a matter of what you tell me matching up with what they tell me.
Yeah, no worries, Sarge. Well, me and me brother are driving home after the footy match in Berlandra.
Hang on. This is Monday morning. The football was on Saturday arvo.
Oh, yeah, well, we kicked on a bit after. See, right, me brother's driving. We're just cruising down the Berlandra Road.
Cruising? In your ute?
Well, you know what I mean. Right, then we get to Wakely's Lane.
And right out of nowhere comes Father Leary and his old bomb. Well, throw out the anchors, went into a skid. Next thing we know, kaboom! Right up his bloody right-hand side.
We're okay, but we're spewing, you know, so we get out to see if the stupid old butt, to see if, see how Father Leary is, right? Right. Now, this is the bit you ain't gonna believe.
Oh, you're doing all right so far.
Or, yeah, but there's no photos and drawings of this bit, see? Father Leary comes flying out of the driver's side with the steering lock in his hand.
Fair dinkum, the old bugger comes over, starts beating up the ute. Pow! Pow! The bloody headlight. Pow! The windscreen. Pow, pow, pow! Every bit of glass, front and back. And then he starts on the bonnet. Pow, pow, pow! You seen it? Bloody dents everywhere, I'm telling you. Father Leary went stark raving mad.
Mad as a cut snake. And after he finishes on the ute, he starts coming after us, right? Now, I know he's a priest and all, but you can't just stand there and let someone clonk you on the head with a steering lock.
So what did you do?
Well, me brother hit him.
He hit Father Leary.
Oh, yeah, clean as a whistle. Right on the button.
And what did Father Leary do?
Well, the first thing he done was drop the steering lock.
And by this time, we're off the road and on the dirt, right? As I hit him, bugger me, he fell into the ditch. He rolled down the bottom and he don't bloody move. He's got a big hole in the side of his head, blood pouring out.
And what?
Well, that's when I come up with me bright idea, see? All we had to do was push the priest's car up against the telephone pole. Everyone had reckoned the old bastard had run off the road. And we shot through. Honest. Oh, and on the way home, I rung the ambulance.
I couldn't have, Thomas. I wouldn't. You'd take the ratten's word over mine?
We have no choice until you can remember.
Where were you between 8 and 10 Monday morning, Father? Had you arranged to meet someone?
At last, Dr. Carter said I could come visit. I bought a few things I thought you might need. I didn't bring fruit. Everybody brings fruit. Did you bring fruit? Oh, and I bought you medicine.
It's medication I was on before the accident. Nothing to do with anything. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to spend some time with my housekeeper. Got some business to attend to.
What do you make of that?
I've got my glasses. And, well, I can tell it starts with an A. Listen, if you can't read it, how the hell do you expect me to be able to read it?
Anyway, it was filled out of the pharmacy in St David's.
That's all right.
What?
What's wrong with the Mount Thomas pharmacies? Why go all the way over there? Howard, just the man we need to see. You're a doctor. Perhaps you can decipher those hieroglyphics.
Oh, don't worry, I couldn't pronounce that either. It's used for draining fluid with internal bleeding, but it's not a drug I'd prescribe.
Is it likely to affect Father Leary's memory loss?
I wouldn't have thought so. I'll check it out then.
Thanks, Howard.
Oh, PJ, this just came through from Camberwell. Seems there was a scam going on when Father Leary was there. A married couple, good devout Christians, and they sold, guess what? Miracle medicine. But that was only a front. They won the patient's confidence and they moved in for the kill. 3 counts of $5,000, 2 counts of $10,000, 1 count of $20,000.
Any details on the couple?
Yep, their names were Jeremy and Melissa Goddard, but their description matches the Balfours.
So we linked them. Leary knew them in Camberwell. No wonder he went off for a private chat with Balfour.
Confession. Well, you said it yourself, PJ, confession. I know you're only joking, but what if Leary recognised them and the Balfours thought he might turn them in?
What better way for Balfour to protect himself than to confess his scam, knowing that a priest is bound to total secrecy?
Unfortunately, confession doesn't work that way. It's about repentance. If a priest knows someone's confessing to conceal a crime he's going to commit in the future, then he can report it to the police.
Oh, he must be involved, though.
Unless Balfour threatened him.
Hey, boss. Father Leary's prescription was made out by Dr. Rawlings over at St David's on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So, allowing for driving time there and back, that means Father Leary is there between 8 and 10.
Right. All right, Nick, you and Doyle go and bring the Balfours in for questioning.
What about me, boss? I could go with Nick.
Doyle's had more experience. I'm asking you again, Father. Did you know the Balfours when you were in Camberwell? Did you know them under the name of Goddard?
All right, if you won't or can't tell us, let's play hypotheticals. Is it possible that a man by the name of Goddard from Camberwell confessed to a priest that he knew that he was conning the sick and dying in his parish? Now, supposing that this priest moved to another town and this Goddard creep showed up again, but he changed his name to Balfour. Then supposing Balfour went to the same priest and confessed that he was doing the same scam again. Now, is it possible that this priest, who was unable to do anything to stop Balfour, was getting a cut of the action?
No!
Yes, thank you very much. All right, bye-bye.
Well, we were too late. The Balfours had packed up and left.
We couldn't get in, but we saw they moved all their stuff out.
We called VKC.
Did you do it in both names, Balfour and Goddard?
Good thinking, 99.
Good on you, Adam. Well done.
Please calm down. Look, before you see him, I've checked on that medication he was taking. It seems it can have serious side effects in a small percentage of cases.
What kind of side effects?
Severe tingling of the fingers, deep depression, and it can produce extreme violence. It's all right, I've taken it from him. He's asking to see him.
Right.
Don't say anything. Just listen. 3 weeks ago, a blood vessel burst right at the back of my eye. I lost 50% of the vision in that eye. I was told it was caused by stress. I'd been warned about stress, but along came Goddard, Balfour, whatever he calls himself. I was afraid I'd lose my position. That's why I'd been seeing Dr. Worrellings down in St. David's. Balfour told me if I went to the police, he'd say I was involved in the crimes in Camberwell, that I knew and did nothing. And it was true. But when he confessed, I believed he was genuine until he showed up here.
And the accident?
Monday morning, I went to visit Mrs. Buchanan. I knew Balfour would try and cheat her out of her money, but I couldn't tell her. I could only warn her, and she trusted him. I felt so angry, partly from frustration, partly because of that medicine. I drove down Wakeley Lane, turned into the main road, and that's all I can remember.
All right. I'll give you the good news first. Evidence we've gathered confirms your side of the story.
Oh, beauty.
Bad news is you still face charges, boys. Serious charges. Like leaving the scene of an accident.
Oh, well, we had to call an ambulance.
And interfering with a police investigation.
Oh, it was self-defence.
Senior Constable Schultz will handle the charges.
Go on this way.
Sergeant, my mother's just got me to cash her cheque for $5,000, and the Balfours are waiting out at the house to collect. So now are you going to do something?
Now, what's the money for, Miss Buchanan?
The Balfour Cancer Research Foundation.
All right, Detective Hashimar, I'll follow you out.
I wonder what Father Leary's cut is off $5,000.
I'm not still on about that.
You know me, I'm like a terrier. I never let go.
Well, the terrier is going to turn into a lapdog when you have to apologise to Mrs. Harris.
Me? Apologise?
Oh, here she is, our little angel of mercy. We thought you'd got lost.
$5,000.
Your mother is a true Christian, full of compassion and the will to help others.
Unlike he who helps himself, eh, Mr. Balfour? Should that be Goddard?
I told you we'd stayed too long.
Shut up, Nadia.
Matthew and Nadia Balfour, I'm placing you under arrest for obtaining money by deception.
Matthew, what's going on?
Everything your colleague put to me hypothetically was true, except for the suggestion that I was accepting bribes.
They've been running their scam all over the place. Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, using different names, of course. They told Mrs. Buchanan that the $5,000 was for some non-existent research foundation on the brink of discovering a cure for cancer.
God forgive them.
Well, it'll be quite a while before they'll be able to play their little game again.
I've let everyone down.
You had to respect your fate.
My faith's all I'll have for a while. They're putting me on retreat until my eyesight recovers. Tom, I'd like to apologize to the Buchanan ladies and to the Ratton boys for the way I handled things.
They'll all understand when the truth comes out. We're going to need you to give evidence when the Balfours come to trial.
That'll be a pleasure.
All right, how are you? What's going on?
You've got a visitor.
Yeah? What, a friend from the weekend?
No, PJ, not all friendships are like that. It's Father Leary's friend, Mrs. Harris.
Uh-huh.
Well, don't let us keep you. No doubt you're as eager to apologise as we are to see you.
No problem. Miss Harris.
Mr. Hashem.